Will FOIA save us all? Yes, it is a Ripple day, and we continue to find things out there that are not kosher in this whole Ripple SEC law case. It continues every day, something new. That's today on OG Crypto and NFTs. Welcome, everyone. My name is Troy, and today we're going to go over blockchain technology, Ripple SEC law case, and NFTs. So before you jump into it, do me a favor, hit the like button. But there you go, like button. Yeah, that's the button. Now, I want to go talk about Ashley Prosper here because I'm going to jump right into it because this is getting ridiculous. So the government came out several years ago and said, actually was signed about 4 or 5 years ago, the Freedom of Information Act. That meant that if you were to look at documents that the government has that are not deeply classified, then they should be able to turn them over. Now, obviously, they're not willing to turn them over, so you have to request them through the FOIA Act. And with this, we're starting to see Empower being one of the biggest companies out there that continue to pull a lot of those documents out of different government agencies. Well, what does this have to do with SEC versus Ripple? Has a lot to do with it because they've been trying to pull information out of the SEC over and over, and they've had to go to court with the SEC already once, and they won, and then a lot of documents were turned over, but part of those documents was the him and emails, and they were fully redacted. I mean, he had black lines in the whole thing. I mean, some people even laughed it off. John Deaton had brought it in on a couple of occasions to some influencers, and he's showing them, and they're like, this is ridiculous. You don't even know what page number it is. They had to redact the page number. It was so classified. So we all know right at this point, the him and emails are going to be unredacted, and we'll have it hopefully in our hot little hands on June 13th, or have a settlement before then. And we will see what's behind door number one. Well, there's many other people out there, especially in the SEC, the XRP, and the Ripple. Can you bring it back? Yes, in the army here that want to know more information. What is really happening here? Well, the real ETH gate is coming to fruition here. A lot of people are putting timelines together. You know, I'll go over here. There's a whole timeline right here of ETH founders in the office when they started. The ETH founders were in the office of a law firm, which then the law firm was at a conference with ETH when they actually announced the ICO. They met with the former Jay Clayton, the former SEC commissioner, and then after him said his speech, he actually joins their law firm. Isn't that a conflict of interest? This doesn't make any sense. He gave ETH a free pass. ETH is locked in with A16Z, and then he joins A16.3. So we've heard all this. So we want to know really what happened behind the scenes. Well, Ashley Prosper did this, and I'll read what it says. It says, what do you think the SEC was discussing with JP Morgan when talking to them about Ripple and or XRP? Hopefully we'll find out in the latest deadline on June 13th. Well, she's already asked for a FOIA, meaning she wants the information about whatever is in a JP Morgan, an SEC, any SEC official, and what do they talk about XRP or Ripple? Well, the SEC came back and said, well, there's thousands of documents. You gotta narrow it down. And they're saying, no, we want them all. So they're supposed to get all that. That's what they're supposed to do. Get them all by June 3rd. It says if they don't hand over the information by June 3rd, there's a lawyer ready and waiting. Again, you have to sue the SEC to get something that is mandated by law, meaning they become more and more the slimy organization that Gary Gensler has put them into. It says there is no messing about. That the case would be filed under rocket docket and should move very quickly. The SEC is untrustworthy agency. JP Morgan is even less trustworthy. So when you put the two together to whisper behind the backs of other market participants, it's cause for concern. What does that mean? That means that they're talking. So JP Morgan's talking to the SEC, and there is potential conflict of interest on why whatever interest that JP Morgan has, that they set aside and shoot it over to the SEC to go ahead and enforce. This has been a big concerned because we know Bill Hinman, when he was working at the SEC, received over $15 million in payments from his former law firm, which the SEC departments told him he should not be receiving, but he still did, and he was still contacting his old firm. Well, now we're going in and having a bigger conspiracy theory here that JP Morgan also was involved here, and that's why we're not understanding how all these guys like Gary Gensler goes from a couple $1 million when he goes into government and now is worth over $100 million, right? $120 million. And he continues to meet with Vanguard, which the majority of his money's at, but he doesn't care about that. He cares more about the way what Vanguard needs and that how they can, what they need to grow their business and help him through donations. And I'm just speculating at this point, but this is what we're seeing here over and over. It says on another FOIA note, I've requested elusive digital asset registration form from Gary Gensler. It keeps telling people to come in and register on. We'll see if they produce that. If anything at all, deadline for that one's June 8th. Guess what Gary Gensler's doing? He's now trying to readjust everything to figure out internally what is happening so he can actually have a registration form, which he's told on so many social media outlets that it's come in and register. It's on our website. There's nothing on the website. Even a SEC, one of the SEC commissioners has said, her name's Hester Pierce, there is nothing to fill out, and Gary keeps talking about it. So we're trying to get to a point where Gary can't open his mouth unless he's talking for the SEC and not on his own behalf, especially if he holds that office. So when he opens his mouth and says there's something on there, he better know there's something on there, okay? He better know there's something on there. All right, let's go on to the next one. Mr. Huber, circumstances of the Ripple lawsuit in a nutshell. This is a very interesting video here. Stefan Huber is a lawyer, and he has 2 lawsuits going out right now, and he's been chomping at the bit, I believe, to sue Hinman as well as Clayton over their mishandling of this Ripple case. But as these documents come out, we're going to find out more and more what was in Bill Hinman's head. There's 52 drafts of the Hinman speech for June 13th, 2018. 52 different drafts. And word on the street is that he didn't use any of them. He said his own thing when he got up there. Interesting. Let's go listen to what Mr. Huber has put together here.
Off innovation, and particularly with regulation, sometimes incumbents will use regulation to block new entrants into the system. So you want to be very careful that you're not kind of locking in the power of the dinosaurs.
The SEC is tooled up now and very aware. Today it would shut down a sale structured like the EOS sale before it was able to turn on its first billboard in Times Square. So
you hear people laughing because that's the Ethereum. So he's saying that the Ethereum ICO would be shut down before you see a billboard on Times Square. Okay, how does he get a free pass? Okay, he's a Canadian he's head of the Ethereum Foundation that's in Switzerland, but he keeps meeting with the SEC. Interesting. But the 75,000 Ripple or XRP holders that John Deaton has asked the SEC to meet with over and over and over, Mr. Gensler refuses. But he'll meet with Joe Lubin.
Sorry about that.
But it's happening.
And if you mentioned Jamie Dimon, so let's bring it back to Jamie and JP Morgan. What do you think is going to be the thing that they will have to change the most or lose market share and somebody else is going to do better, faster, serve their clients better than JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs can do?
You can just hear the bankers panicking right now.
But what
feel the panic in their voices. But here's what always happens. The first thing that happens is they try to go, oh, it's nothing. And they did that. I mean, that's with every new industry, every new technology comes along, the powers that be, the incumbents, the status quo, all say, it's nothing, don't ignore the man behind the curtain, this is nothing. And then all of a sudden it's too big to get in there, they're going, oh my God, I got to face this thing. And then they all line up and they wrap their arms together and they say, we're not letting this happen. And then it keeps going. And then they say, okay, well, let's sue them. Or let's go get the government.
There's another thing they do. They adopt the technology. I think.
No, that's at the end.
They will adopt this technology.
No, this is the last thing they do. No,
yeah, it's like
it's
the
after.
seven
It's
stages
after.
of grief,
Right. It's after the press planting. They plant the press stories. They put out lawsuits. They create as much of a fuss as possible. They try to get their government friends involved. And then they go, oh God, this thing's happening.
Wow. Hit it on the nose. He went over 4 different phases and we're in the 4th phase. And hopefully that phase of adoption will happen once the Judge Torres rules on the Ripple SEC case. And that's only going to be probably weeks away, according to Brad Garlinghouse in yesterday's video. We are seeing it happen live. How? A lot of you out there are saying, well, how does that affect my life? Well, this won't. This will be the back-end technology that will be able to move money or transfer any value anywhere in the world in seconds for fractions of pennies. You'll just know that you'll have instant time where you'll send money to somebody in a different country and you'll get the money immediately for pennies. Now, is it really going to be for pennies? I don't think it's going to be for pennies because there's still going to have to be some administration. There's still going to have to be computers in between probably, as well as some dollars. But this is what I really think, guys. What I really think is that we're in the information age. And the more and more that people have information on how to, or companies have companies have information about how to manipulate us, what's our pain points, what we like, to tell us what we like, and then to show us the deals that are available. I think that information is more valuable than the few pennies or maybe $1 or $2 to transfer money. So in my idea here is that they will absolutely allow us to have cross-border payments or transfer anything, token to token, value to value, monetary, CBDC to CBDC. But it will be so cheap because we'll have to give KYC our information. We'll have to give our information up, know your own customer, and then they'll follow and track our habits. And that's where they'll figure out. So just like in life, if you want to give up your privacy, it's going to cost you, you're going to get cheaper and cheaper fees, almost to the point of no fees if you want to give everything up about your personal information. Think about that. This is the future here because AI is going to be smarter than all of us. And if they know how to manipulate and trick us by our information about using our personalities against us, right? Our habits against us, it's more valuable than it is to charge us $3, $2, $1, $5 for $100,000 being transmitted from here to Russia. Okay, think about that. All right, so let's jump into NFTs. How are you doing, crypto mom, NFT mom?
What?
Come on in.
Here I am.
Producer Emi.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So yesterday we talked about the what is it, LPA?
PFL.
PFL, and that they are now going to adopt an NFT as a ticket.
On the XRPL, correct?
Correct. So what are they doing here?
Okay, so Formula One, they have already had some visible crypto sponsors for quite a while, but now they're going to be rolling in the NFT tickets as well. I didn't see what it's going to be on, partnered with.
Mine's a security of Ethereum.
platform.
Right. I think it's over Polygon.
Interesting.
It's
okay.
automatic.
Yeah, so this is kind of interesting. Obviously, Formula One is a very popular racing sport all over the world, so it makes sense to me that they would be following in the footsteps of a lot of other big sporting events of doing the NFT tickets.
Yes.
It makes a lot of sense. It makes their life easier. It makes the customer's life easier. So we're just going to we're going to continue seeing this adoption spread throughout any type of major event.
Crazy.
So.
And this is just going to be the norm. The first thing the adoption needs to happen is people need to get wallets.
Yeah.
And then they need to install those wallets on their cell phones. Mm-hmm. And then that would bring more adoption to this space.
You know what I just realized? Okay, so when I was in Japan, to use the train, you download the Suica app, and that's how you use the train, right? Mm-hmm. So if we could get people to think of NFTs, kind of like that.
Exactly.
It's very similar.
Right.
You know.
So when you purchase something, it'll be taken out of their wallet and put in your app, right? I mean, you could buy tickets that way now.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So like plane tickets, even coupons. You can put coupons in your wallet now too.
Right. But typically those are app specific, meaning if I wanted to get something from Ticketmaster, it would sit in my Ticketmaster app. And if I want to do the train, I'd have to go to the train app. And if I want, so go ahead.
So kinda, but no. So like, you know how on your iPhone you have a wallet app? A lot of it can go straight into your wallet app now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be something like that.
Yeah. So when it's like that, and it's not like you have to download, a new app and a new thing for when they just make it easy and it goes into, like your system browser, like your system wallet like that, it's super easy. I'm sure companies who create wallets are going to be out there trying to figure out the best, most convenient. Who knows? Maybe it'll even be like credit cards one day where you get like perks or points or bonuses. Like, I can see this really developing in the future for benefiting both the company selling as well as the customer buying.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it.
This puts a lot of questions in my mind. Do we even need it?
No, honestly, no. We don't.
Interesting. Hey guys, thank you very much for joining us. It is a 3-day holiday here in the United States. You guys have a fantastic weekend, and we're going to see you on Tuesday.
Bye.